Attila the Hun says, I'm confused. What was the justification on the early companions fighting other empires offensively if it was to spread Islam? Why do you have to fight them if they say no? And can Muslims do that today? They went and they fought those governments that were misguiding their people. And that was a command of God. You have a government that's misguiding the people and is not ruling the land by God's law. They didn't fight those people and tell them to convert or steal their homes. Expansion are not all the same. Some expansion comes, A, with a cause or without a cause. Like either the cause is purely material or there's a higher level cause. Not all expansion is just so we could take his wealth. In Islam, that wouldn't be considered jihad. And that's not what the Sahaba did. Just so I can take his wealth? No, you can't do that. What's the proof in the Sharia is that if the guy says, okay, fine, I'll enter Islam, whether he means it or not, you can't fight him anymore. So it's not about taking wealth. That's the first difference. The second difference is, are you sucking the resources of the people for yourselves and sending it back home, yes or no? That would be haram in Islam. Let's go and take all of the resource of this country and send it back to Medina. That would be haram in Islam. Number two, do you actually aggress upon the citizens? Because here in Palestine, the British took over. They won the war, right? Ottomans lost their land. French and British divided it all up. Britain takes Palestine. Now, the British didn't go in there and try to move into the people's homes. So you lost a war on the battlefield. Now you don't run your own country. Well, you lost the war on the battlefield at the same time. You don't like it? Don't lose. But the British at the same time didn't go, in the case of Palestine, knocking on homes and eventually stealing the home, killing the people. The Zionists came and did that. So when we look at expansion, you have to look at a number of factors to be able to grade an expansion, insofar as we can ascertain the facts, right? That's hard in the first place. Ascertaining the facts is hard in the first place. But hypothetical world where we can ascertain facts. And in the modern times, we can ascertain more facts than in the past. But are you expanding for a material cause or for a higher cause? Are you expanding... is there an opportunity for peace first? And in the Sharia, we do give an opportunity for peace. Accept God as the lawgiver and Muhammad as his prophet, and we go back home. If not, then what? Then your army. Now, the next question, are you aggressing on citizens or not? Army's made to fight, right? And by the way, no government has the right to rule. So you rule because you're dominant and strong. So let's now meet at the field and see who's stronger. You meet at the battlefield, army and army fights. And you don't aggress on the citizens. Next, are you aggressing on the nature of the land? That's another thing. Are you now destroying our trees, destroying our nature, destroying our physical country? That's yet another question. So you see that there can be an expansion will happen either way. Anyone who's denying that expansion it's gonna happen. It's like men are going to seek women. If you don't legislate marriage and you say it's immoral, it doesn't make a difference. It will happen either way. So therefore, it has to be legislated. There has to be a way for it to happen. Men will seek to get rich. You cannot be like Christianity, try to be a monk and own nothing and never touch a woman. This is like so against nature, and the result of that is look what they do at the end of the day. A disease grew into that group of people, and they're going after boys, right? If you forbid something that's natural, you get a worse result. You get a worse result. So you can't forbid what's natural. It naturally will happen. Competent nations will take other competent nations. If I run a bakery and I'm so successful and my books are kept so perfectly and my product is coming off the shelf and I have no waste at all, very quickly I will buy out the next baker. The question is, how do I do it? Am I going to do this mercifully? Or am I going to do it aggressively? Am I going to scar his family for life? You know, J.D. Rockefeller is not as evil as people try to make him out to be. He used to go to a guy, oil refinery in Ohio, and he'd say to them, listen, I've done the math. In 2 years, you'll be out of business. In 2 years, all of your customers will come to me. So you have an option. I buy you out now. I make you a manager and give you a salary greater than what you're making right now. The smart one said yes. The stubborn one said no and went out of business. Now that you went to war with me and I just did better, I'm more efficient, my costs are lower, you're out of business. Now I'm not obligated to help you anymore. I gave you the chance the first time. Guy almost like stole a page from Sharia, right? But point being is that not all expansions are the same. And what's happening with the Zionists and the Israelis is something that when you're shoving a group of people into a piece of land and with no representation and no rights, that's the next question we have to ask. Once you do conquer, do those people you conquer, what are their rights? Are they afforded any rights? Well, in Islam, you're afforded rights. We have to defend you. You have hukuk. You have rights. When you think about expansion, you have to break it down into all these pieces and ask yourself, what is the nature of this expansion? And just the fact that some people don't like that to be conquered, or that their government was conquered. You weren't conquered. No one touched you. Your government was conquered. You don't like the fact not everything about life is going to be nice and fuzzy, right? That doesn't make it something that we're going to do or not do. You don't like the fact that the Romans were kicked out of Egypt, right? The regular Egyptian citizen wasn't touched. The regular person living in Syria and Egypt and Iraq, he wasn't touched. He doesn't like that the fact that his government lost. Well, don't lose then, right? Your government lost. They faced off at the battlefields. They faced off in these famous epic battles, and they lost, right? And you had a chance not to have any fight at all. Aslim taslim. Just say La ilaha. If that governor, their ruler, just said La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, the Muslim army would have to walk right back. We can't say, oh, you didn't mean it. Can't say that, right? So you lost. But was the land destroyed? Were the citizens aggressed upon? Were they forced to do anything? Were their homes stolen? Were their resources sucked out and sent to Medina? These are the questions that you ask. Were their citizens given hukuk? Were their citizens given rights? Yeah, you're given rights. You have a dhimmi status. Even when they went to India, they gave them the dhimmi status. What are you going to do with all these Hindus, right? And pagans. They gave them the status. They treated them as ahl dhimma. So those are the questions before you simply say that, oh, everyone expands. Yeah, everyone expands, but not the same way. Not in the same way.